Hello, everybody, all of the heart-led leaders out there. My name's Amy Takaya. I'm here with one of my favorite people in the whole world, a dear friend and client of mine, Clista, who is currently enrolled in my Free Your Soma program. She's winding down her month 3 of the 6-month program, and she's here to share with you a little bit today about the changes and the experiences that she's been having in her body during the last 3 months. So welcome, Clista. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Tell
you.
everybody a
It's my
little bit
pleasure.
about yourself.
Um, yeah, I am a licensed professional counselor, among other things, and I've been working with survivors of early childhood trauma for the past 20 years. And I also provide integrated treatment for recovery from PTSD, substance use, and chronic pain.
Nice, thank you.
Mm.
That's an impressive, impressive display there of skill and knowledge that you bring.
Um,
Tell us a little bit about how you came into that kind of work yourself.
mhm. Well, I love it because it is a way of working with people that can really help people feel better.
Mm,
And that's why I love doing it. I am also a survivor of many adverse childhood experiences, and I live with chronic PTSD and chronic pain as a result of those experiences. And I know that I know the body's amazing capacity to heal. I've experienced myself in a lot of different kinds of situations that my body can recover from things that might at first seem quite impossible. But as I said, I have still living with chronic pain that can at times feel pretty debilitating.
right.
I
And
and I
then,
wanted to say I've also tried virtually everything that there is, everything that I've ever heard of to try to help my body. Really anything that a person could name, I have done a course of treatment in at one time or another. But it never really seemed to stick. It never really seemed to stay in my body,
mm,
and it seemed like I had to have the hands-on of someone else to manipulate my body to
in
try to
order to
get
get
some
relief,
relief.
right.
But then it wouldn't stay.
Yeah.
I would have to keep going back and essentially just return to the same level of pain that I had before the treatment.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I remember you telling me about this for years. I mean, we've known each other a long time, so I've been
Mhm.
witnessing your journey around this too. So, what changed when we started doing Hannah Somatics together?
Well, it's quite amazing. I didn't really expect there to be anything significantly different, because it sounded similar to some things that I've tried before. But I've experienced it with the Hannah somatics. I'm able to release on a much deeper level the kind of constrictions that are really deep in my body tissues, not just the muscles, but like ligaments and the way the ligaments attach to the bone and the whole matrix of the body essentially is affected by doing the work, and it's at a much deeper level. And one of the things that I love so much about it, and why I think it is so effective for people like me who may be experiencing the effects of trauma and chronic pain, especially, well, I think for most of us, probably, we tend to disconnect from the body in one way or another. And it's a coping mechanism. We don't want to have to feel the pain that we feel. And that eventually works against us because then we're not in touch with what we need to be in touch with within ourselves, either emotionally or physically, that can help us heal. So I work primarily on the emotional level, and I found that Hannah Somatics addresses that deep healing of the muscles from the inside out, so that a person, I know that I have been able to tune in much more in a much more refined and oh, how do I say this? Such a refined way to really feel what's happening deep inside my body. And because the Hanasomatic technique is so gentle and it's also so targeted, especially the way that you do it, Amy. You have a tremendous, not only just nurturing quality and gentility in how you approach the work, but also that you can really tune into what's happening in the body and then apply the principles of somatics to really make a profound difference in how my body, how I'm experiencing my body, and how I can feel my body, and then how I can, with your coaching, adjust what's happening in how I'm relating to my body so that I can release areas of tension and constriction that um, there, some areas are kind of stubborn, but if I, in continuing to go back to it and practice, I find that I can always make a difference, even when I'm practicing by myself,
Yeah.
which which is like one of the things that's so amazing about it, and especially in the context of trauma, because a lot of what trauma does for a person is tend to increase a sense of helplessness and a sense of hopelessness, that we really can't do anything. It's done, it's over, and we're left with the fallout of these kinds of experiences. And I know that on an emotional level, I can work very well with that. And this is the first time I've been able to work in as deep a way as I need to into my body experience, so that I can work in concert with my emotional processes to also affect what's happening in my body. And it's synergistic, it's a loop. So when my body is feeling less pain and I'm feeling more independent and more confident in my ability to manage the pain that's in my body, then of course I feel more stable and more responsive in the world as well.
That's amazing. Yes, what you described is so much of what I am seeing as integration, that when we
Mhm.
start unwinding and taking down the level of tension in our physical structure, then the emotional releases come, the mental energy gets to adapt as well to this new, literally new tonicity of the muscle
Mhm.
structure. And then
Yeah,
we can really relax into life and be more present and be more confident in ourselves, because we're not being held back by our by the things that have happened in our lives before, by the traumas and experiences that our body is holding,
right,
right?
right, exactly. And for a person who's found a psychologist or licensed professional counselor, I would probably say it's an LPC, because most of us seem to just do an awesome job. But I might be a bit biased there. But if you found a person that works well with the types of trauma that you've been through, and again, the recovery is possible. We can learn how to manage the emotional and psychological effects of trauma. And if you are working with a person who is helping you to understand how to do that and do that effectively, adding the henosomatic journey as a part of that recovery would be very synergistic, and would, I know it has been for me, been something that kind of took me to the next level of my recovery and my ability to feel truly empowered in the world,
Mm.
like truly empowered with my own body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been amazing to get to see that and experience that with you during this time together. And I look forward to the next 3 months. We still have 3 more months to go. So
Yay.
tell us a little bit about, how some of the dietary shifts and looking at food has been for you, what you've gotten out of that.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the information that you have provided to me, I have known, from one form or another, but the way that you put it together, in terms of being able to integrate the necessity of considering both eliminating all types of refined food products, oils, as well as sugars and salt, and then shifting to a more plant-based diet that is rich in fiber and legumes, especially the beans. I'm amazed at how much better my body feels. And I've had a pretty significant relapse, as you know, to go back to old habits under situations of current stress. And I'm now coming out on the other side of that again and re-experiencing what it was like to have so much more inflammation in my body as a result of
Mm.
eating more refined sugar, more salt, more well, less fiber, just more carbs overall, because
Right,
that's kind of my,
refined carbohydrates, right?
yeah, my stress go-to is the simple carbs like it is for a lot of people. And then, coming back around to really having, fruits and vegetables with legumes be the primary piece of it. And like I've told you, I haven't really integrated a I've only integrated a small part of what we've done so far because you've provided so many videos and so much information, both with the dietary and with the somatics movement, that I have enough to practice and experiment with for many, many years. And that goes for the food too. And being able to get, first of all, to clear out the system from the addiction to the carbs, and then be able to find out how wonderful food tastes when you're working with the basic elements that are hopefully also organic ingredients that are much healthier. And so I have only just begun to try to figure out how to do some menu planning and to integrate the different recipes that you've already shared with me. But I'm excited because I have gotten to taste your cooking on a few occasions, and it's pretty delicious. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
so it's
Yeah.
inspiring. It's very inspiring.
You
So
know, it's funny because I've had plenty, oh my God, so many of those moments of like, oh, I'm doing really well and I feel really good. And then something stressful happens. It could be a day or a week or a month. And I relapse or I go back to the other habits that I used to have. And, I've learned to forgive myself more quickly
yeah,
because it
yeah,
it shows me what I don't want to do. I go, oh yeah, I remember now why I was doing the other thing, because this doesn't feel good. This isn't how I want to live my
right.
life, but I need to remind myself of that because, we forget sometimes like what that actually felt like to feel, inflamed or to feel,
Mhm.
uncomfortable in our bodies.
Yeah,
So I think it's part of the process. It's part of the
yeah.
process of healing and having a healthier lifestyle as we have those moments of, I even hate to call it relapse because it's not even, like we can kind of
Well, it's a reversion, to an old habit.
reversion. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
revision. Yeah.
And I appreciate you mentioning forgiveness because I know we've talked about that through the somatics process, and it's also such a key element in trauma recovery, as in a holistic sense, to be empathetic toward oneself, and to be truly able to not be judgmental and to not beat oneself up about whatever it is that might have happened or might be happening now. But that forgiveness and that ongoing deepening of empathy
Mm.
is so important in recovery. And it's really the antithesis of abuse. It's the antithesis of, um, of violence, to be compassionate and to deepen that process. And Hannah Somatics really helps to allow that to become even deeper in the body. And I wanted to mention the prayer that we do, the solace prayer, because it has also been a very powerful practice to incorporate daily. It's very centering, and it is a way to remind myself that I can give myself solace as well as wanting to provide that for other people, because I do give that to people all day long. I mean, that's fortunately, I mean, I'm lucky. I get to do that for my vocation, and I also need it. And if I and I just wanted to say that for each of us to be able to give that to ourselves is the most powerful thing. Um,
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you. I think that,
Mhm.
the for me, my somatic practice is part of finding solace for
Mhm.
myself and my body. And that's why I've
Mhm.
paired that prayer and that set of mudras with the somatic practice, because I think that they are one. Like we find
Mhm.
solace in this gentle,
Mhm.
compassionate way of being in our bodies that somatics that's what the practice ultimately like
Mhm.
shows us, is how we do that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. We talked a little bit about how I can experience what I feel in my body as a movement of energy, like when I'm getting a massage.
mm,
And I've been able to experience that in doing Hannah somatics, that sort of deep, sort of tingly, sort of joyous energy feeling that comes into the muscles and into the body. It's really pretty amazing, because normally that's something that I can associate with having someone else do something for me or
right, but you're
something.
creating it.
Yeah.
You're having this experience of
Mhm,
creating it in your body on your own.
mhm, mhm.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really empowering. That's really
Mhm.
exciting. So
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. And oh,
Mhm.
anything else that you want to add here?
Nope, I think that's kind of pretty much everything I hope to say, other than I think it's that the Hannah somatics technique is really quite miraculous, and that your ability again to apply what you know about the somatics, it's pretty phenomenal. I can't, every session I'm like, how on earth do you know how to do, those subtle pieces that are so very powerful and effective. So yeah, it's quite an amazing thing to be able to experience. And it's never too late. But I do think it's important to pay attention to when the right timing is, to
Mm,
be able to engage in a process like this, because it does take some commitment. And it's not about perfection, but it is something that one wants to do every day. And
yeah.
but it's not hard because you want to. You don't
Yeah,
have to
once
like,
you realize what it's
yeah,
doing, you're like, oh, I want to do that. Yeah.
yeah,
And it
you don't have
doesn't
to
take a
make.
lot of time. I mean, you can do a long session for yourself, but you can also lay down for 10 minutes and make a big change.
Yeah, yeah. It's been quite amazing how little time it can take if I only have a little bit of time, or if I only feel like I have a little bit of energy. But I usually um, spend more time actually practicing than I think I'm going to, because my body is beginning to remember and ask me to do things rather than me having to think about what it is that I want to do.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And, you know, we, we'll be looking forward to the next 3 months, and you're looking forward to a lifetime now, a continued lifetime of
Mhm.
somatic healing and somatic awareness that you're building. So I'm
Yeah.
so grateful I've gotten to provide that for you.
I am very grateful that you're doing this work, and I'm really happy that you are continuing to reach out to others to help as well. It's very, very needed right now. So
Yeah, thank you so much. All
you're
right,
very, you're very
we'll talk
welcome.
again soon.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.